my microphone on the live stream with that. Anyway, Horace wanted to talk about the item and continue talking that conversation.
All right, so sometimes greedy items are good to buy, and this fills a couple of specific niches, however you want to say it.
Niche.
Kish. Um, so like sometimes, let's say you're playing buy and you're really, really far ahead, and you don't think the AD carry is going to be a threat for a while. This does synergize pretty well with their Q. Kind of the same thing on Hecarim. If you're really far ahead and you think you might not need Heart or Thornmail second after Heart or something like that, this is okay, but once again, it's a greedy item. And greedy items, although they have a place, you just have to be careful when they build them. Unlike Sunfire, this is a greedy item you can actually build later in the game. And the reason like nobody touches Sunfire right now is, besides the champions that need it, like Shen, is it's greedy and it doesn't scale because the champions that build it usually don't have magic penetration and it's not a lot of damage. So even though it looks like it's 40 late game, once you count lock it and once you count magic resist items and everybody, it's like 15 damage per second, which is absolutely nothing at like level 16.
Yeah, what is Shen Shadow Dash? It's 1.5 seconds. So even then, if you Shadow Dash taunt somebody and auto attack them in that time, they're going to have 0.5 seconds of slow from that item. Is that worth buying? Is the damage in 0.5 seconds worth of slow?
I don't think you buy it for the slow.
Right,
Shen needs pressure.
But no, my point is though, for somebody like you would think you would buy it on because it gives Shen bully potential in lane with the extra damage. Like just thinking, thematically or rather thinking theory crafting, you would buy it on Shen because you're like, all right, I'm auto attacking them, I'm doing a ton of damage, and I'm forcing them out of lane. Now we've gotten to team fights where you Shadow Dash, taunt somebody for 1.5 seconds. By the time you Shadow Dash and you smack them with your auto attack, they either get 0.5 to 0.75 seconds of slow through that item. Is 1 second of slow with an auto attack worth it? In most cases, and 99% of cases, no. It's not worth buying
For the
that
cost
item.
of the item in the slot.
Right. When you could be buying other armor or health items like Randuin's or Sunfire that are going to do more throughout the course of a fight than this item.
There's so many slow things and slows on champions and CC abilities in this game. Like slows are really, really overrated in League of Legends, and this is something I see with a lot of newer players, and Adam's touched on it 1,000 times before, but the reason why nobody builds Frozen Mallet is because there's so many slows in this game, you never notice it, and it's probably never going to matter. Some champions build it, like Gnar built it to split push, but like this, you don't build it on split pushes. I guess you build it on Shen, but you're not building it to split push, you're building Sunfire to split push, and just, I don't know, it's a really weird item, and it fits in a really weird place.
So we talked about this item being greedy a lot, which I think applies to tanks, but what about for bruisers that need a little bit of tankiness, but they also need some damage? You mentioned Hecarim, and I think that this would be good if Hecarim needs to build some damage because his team, needs him to do so. They don't need him to be a pure tank.
Two issues with building this on Hecarim is, one, you really want Heart because Heart is just so good on Hecarim and it gives Hecarim so many things he needs. So it's probably going to be your second thing after Heart, and if you don't build Heart, you kind of have mana issues, especially if you want to split and TPN. After Heart, Thornmail becomes really important on Hecarim just because of the way he plays in the backline. He isn't like a tank that kind of blows their load and sits there like Rengar. He's somebody who stays on top of you, and usually peeling him is killing him. So Thornmail is really strong too, and it's kind of I talked about this in another episode, but items are always in competition with each other. So
it seems. But would you build Heart and then Thornmail and stack all that armor and just rely on the health from Trinity Force?
Well, I'm counting this as second armor item. So I'm not saying you go Heart into Thornmail. I'm saying you go Heart, you build whatever, and then your second.
With Hecarim's a rare case though, where you're generally building
anti-carry.
Well, yes. You're playing anti-carry, but two, you're also rushing your tier 2 boots because he gets attack damage through the move speed he's gaining, and you're also building to do those teleport ganks with home guards because a lot of Hecarims are rushing straight into their tier 2 boots and home guards to have that awesome teleport gank where they're doing a ton of damage through E. So he's kind of like that weird one-off case where these items might work just because of his passive synergizes so well with move speed. Right? I mean, that pretty much how I'm looking at it, that fact that he's like the one champion that this item you could potentially build it on at any point and make it work,
but it's competing with items that are better.
At the same time, at the same time, does this item make that better than what he would buy in his place?
I'm going to kind of run you through like a shorthand thought process as a Aggron player. So first thing, usually rushing tier 2 boots with home guards. That's 1,500 gold. You finish your Trinity Force, you're sitting at roughly 1,500 plus 36, 37. A little over 5k gold, and you're not very tanky because you don't have like a core tank item. So can you really afford to be greedy at that point?
Right.
Answer is usually no. You're usually going to a Frozen Heart, and you're usually looking at Spirit Visage too. Those are 2 really core items on him, just to deal with residual damage, cooldown reduction, healing, a lot of things he needs. Then you kind of finish that core 4. Do you want to get this instead of Thornmail 5th item most games? Maybe if you're really, really far ahead, but usually no. And 6th item, I don't really see where this fits either. It schematically, it fits into the noob track that kind of a lot of people failed on Hecarim when he came out with, because they built a ton of movement speed items, but
thinking it was going to work.
Needs other things.
Right. Yeah, there we go. So, in other words, you're probably not building this item with the other items that you can build to make an impact on your team.
How many stacks do you get for like a dash, like Yasuo, who can keep dashing? Can he keep refreshing stacks? Can he do more damage after he ults somebody and smacks him that one time?
I don't think he ever did the. I don't think it's probably worth it.
Make him tankier.
One extra.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a huge amount compared to just regular movements.
You wouldn't build anything tanky on him at all, though, because of the free shield that he gets.
Now, what is cool is that red banner thing that you got flying behind you that this item gives you, that spell effect. That's pretty cool. I like that.
That's great.
Big plus because of that thing.
You know what else is really cool? Volibear.
I felt like I was moving really fast.
This is great. It's going to be great at Volibear top lane because you can move really fast and getting. No, I'm kidding.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then as soon as you get slowed or CC, your stacks fall
because
off.
He's running at
that problem not fixed at all.
No, just throw back to last episode.
Olaf don't got that problem.
You know what else I did show? Actually, I did. I haven't shown the top. I haven't shown Volibear top yet to horse. I have shown Lissandra though. The power of Lissandra. I showed that me winning lane last patch and roaming effectively. So fuck off, horse. against silver and gold players.
When Adam starts to talk and then tries to get horse to back up whatever he's saying, and then horse is sitting here off to the side with a mischievous grin on his face, bouncing up and down.
He's always bouncing and grinning,
but he doesn't say anything. So it's sort of like
it's because I'm trying to incite horse, but he's uninsightful. So it's very.
Well, we're talking about Volibear.
They're
talking about bouncing.
Ways I can deal with that. One, I can lie to Adam and inflate his ego.
Which everybody already does, so let's be honest here.
Yeah, I'm just not going to do that.
Yeah, no. you can try to crush me. It's okay. But listen, it worked in silver and gold, so it must be good.
I have a question. Did Horse tell you about the top turn thing before you texted me about it this morning? Because if that comes into a situation where he says something to you and you stole his idea and tried to pass it off as your own, you, sir, are a plagiarist.
He did not text about me about Titanic Hydra. I promise you that. All right, well, let's move on about Sterix Gauge before this gets too out of hand, which it already is. Total cost 2,550 gold, 2,550 gold. Longsword, Giant's Belt, plus 1,190 gold. You get 500 health. Basic attack damage is plus 25%. Just a flesh wound. Unique passive, taking at least 400 to 1,800 based on level damage within 5 seconds, grants Primal Rage for 8 seconds. Primal Rage causes your champion to gain increased size plus 25% additional base attack damage, meaning you have 50% plus base additional attack damage, and rapidly decaying shield for 30% of your maximum health.
This item basically becomes, if you want to punish somebody with health and you don't kill them, they're going to hurt you if they don't die.
Yeah, so a couple things I don't like right off the bat. First of all is the large combined cost, which I always dislike on champions, or dislike on items. 1,200 gold just seems like a lot. And it talks about damage that you need to take. And I'm assuming that's after resistances come to effect. So if you're building tanky and you're taking reduced damage, that means this is going to take longer to proc. So if you're a tank buying this item, it kind of seems it seems like a conflict of interest there. Why would you get this and a bunch of tank items?
You want to build health but not defenses?
Yeah.
I tried this today. you really have to get messed up to get the passive. I was trading with my lane opponent when I had this item and I was like 404 or something, and I was actually watching the numbers like go up and down and like not move, because they'd go up because I'd take some damage and they'd go down because of decay, and it's just like sitting at 200, 300, 400, and it just never seemed like you really have to like get punished like hard, like walk into an alley and have 3 or 4 people mess you up to get this to work. I don't know, it's kind of like, if anyone watched Dragon Ball Z, it's kind of like Goku got into a lot of fights and he never went Super Saiyan. He had to have a lot of shit happen to him until he went Super Saiyan.
It beats almost half the death.
This is the Super Saiyan item, because you have to get beaten half the death to work.
I think that's probably the best way to put it, is you have to get beat the hell up to get that extra 25% additional base attack damage.
And which one of you was it that compared it to Guinso's? Before the point
I compared it to Guinso's.
I thought that was a pretty good comparison. Like you need to take damage in order to get the full potential out of this item, but you don't want to take damage. I guess unless you're a tank. But again, we talked about how tanks are building resistances to take reduced damage, so it's going to take longer to come into effect.
Yeah, so usually a lot of champions too, when you engage, you pop a lot of your abilities, and then you take a lot of damage. Like, let's say if I engage on Rengar, I blow my load, and then I take a bunch of damage. Do I really want all of these buffs after I don't have cooldowns up? And base AD too, you can only build this on like bruisers too, because bruisers get a really disproportionate amount of AD.
This is a volley bear item, a top volley bear item right here. Because he can, get
Jack.
that much damage, and he can gain all his life back, and now he's doing 50% base AD.
I actually I like that you bring up that this would be good on Jax, just for the fact that if you're playing Jax and you are able to get on somebody, you're a threat, so they have to do damage to you. And if they give you long enough to survive where you can potentially lifesteal some back and you're lasting longer in the fight, you're going to be putting out way more damage anyway. So again, this item becomes a, hey, if somebody has it and you actually do damage to them but don't kill them, they're going to hurt you very, very badly.
And it kind of synergizes with Trinity Force, because it increases your base AD. But I say kind of because Trinity Force, you're proccing at the start of the fight, and this isn't going to have procced by the start of the fight.
This is
So really, when it procs, halfway through the fight, towards the end of it, that's when your Sheen procs are going to actually do more damage.
This really is a Cinder Hulk jungle type of second rush item, or a top laner who has built Titanic Hydra and then gone into this. Somebody who has an additional amount of life so that your shield is even more gigantic than it was before. But anytime that you have a shield that is popped after you've reached a certain percentage of life is never going to be appreciated unless that you are I'm not going to say higher level player, but a more skilled player. Or have more experience with the item, because most players who take 75% of their damage in a burst don't appreciate the 30% shield you received after you've received 75% damage, if that makes sense. That you can continue to stay in the fight, that you can continue to use your abilities after everything's been destroyed. So really with this item, if you have some additional life and you've built this after the fact on somebody, again, Volley Bear, anybody's building Titanic Hydra, maybe a Cinder Hulk jungler, whatever it may be, just be aware that you are receiving a shield that may decay rapidly, but might be just enough to stay in that fight and get that next cooldown off or disrupt them or whatever it may be.
You have to be able to punish. You have to be a champion that can punish after something happens to you. And like I talked about, a lot of champions go on and blow their load, and I mean, if you're really strong after you blow your load, it doesn't do anything. But if you're playing Jax and you get punished,
Counter-Strike. If it activates, you can Counter-Strike with it on you. You're mitigating some of that damage, and you can punch out a bunch of damage during it as well. That can be helpful.
He's got short enough cooldowns to take advantage of it.
QW again, QW again, QW again. But like, if you build this in some... Maybe. I don't think... Trend scales multiplicatively with those other items, and he doesn't build more HP items, so it doesn't really seem to make sense. He kind of needs to crit. Yeah. He's like an 80 carry.
I'm not really seeing this item being built on that many people right now anyway.
No, but the item that is being built on a lot of people is Titanic Hydra.
Yes, it is.
Total cost 3,300 gold. Tiamat plus Giant's belt plus 400 gold.
Gigantic belt.
Gigante belt.
Health 400, attack damage 50, base health regen plus 100%. Unique passive has a cleave that does a little bit more, and the active is a cleave. Damage to all targets is increased. So essentially, it's a Hydra with life rather than extra attack damage and life steal.
If you already do good base damage and you can build tanky, and you get this item and then build tanky, you do really great damage while being really tanky. This item's really good.
Anybody who benefits from auto attack resets, anybody who benefits from anybody who benefits from high base damage, anybody who can needs to use it to clear waves, anybody who can use it to
it's another option for split pushing, I think.
Yeah.
Instead of having to go Sunfire Cape, hey, this is another way to clear waves as a tank. AD tank.
It does a lot of damage just by itself. I've been trying a lot of champions, and one of the reasons a lot of people build team out items is because of how much pressure you could impose on the map. Just because you can clear top really fast in TP or roam, or clear camps really fast and do stuff. And right now you kind of have to build Tiamat and Hydra, and lifesteal kind of sucks on tanks, but the wave clear from Tiamat is nice. So just having a medium between those 2 points is really, really helpful.
That's the end all be all there, is that you didn't really want or need the lifesteal on any of those juggernauts. We'll use juggernauts because this patch really is focused to those, because a lot of those items we previously spoke about was for those items, those champions who can do damage but don't have any way to get in or out of a fight, so they want it slow or whatever it may be. Titanic Hydra is your step item in between that, where you don't need the lifesteal because you don't do enough auto attacks to make lifesteal worthwhile, so instead they're just going to give you raw health.
Yeah. DeClaw, this is an item I think of for Scion, where you know how you talked about Hydra on Scion all the time, and I mean it's good, but at the same time he wants to build tank, so it's hard to justify it, right? So now you have this item which you can build, and it solves all the problems that you're trying to fix with the other Hydra.
I can't give real life analysis because I haven't built it on him because I haven't played enough yet. But just reading it, looking at the theory crafting, everything's percent max health, which is what Scion builds in his passive on his W and everything else. And it's that Hydra that I want to help wave clear and keep side pushing.
The Titanic Hydra is it's the second item. Buy item in Scion's current highest win percent core build right now.
Really? Well,
yes.
I can see why. I need to try it. I haven't. I tried Deadman's Plate on him though. For the old
that's not
Emperor Palpatine thing. It was just a bitch. Yeah.
In fact, it's on the most frequent core build for Scion, but it's not on the winningness one.
Yeah, of course it's not.
Could anyone think of or see Shen building this instead of Sunfire?
No. Because Sunfire gives you the additional armor and also the wave presence to be able to push back anybody who could push you into the tower.
I want to try Tank Theon again and build this one, just for the hell of it.
Plus, you're in the fights longer as Shen than you are. You're doing more standing around as Shen than you are doing auto attacks.
Shen is building a lot of HP, and he's auto attacking a lot as well.
But when are you going to buy it? Because as Shen, to be able to stay in lane and
3,300 gold.
Right, you're spending the 3,300 gold, which could go toward, I think it's 2,700 gold for Sunfire Cape.
Let's go to the wiki.
3,000 gold, probably 3,000 gold, honestly. Somebody go to the gold. Wiki. Somebody wiki me. I'm going to wait until I continue on my analysis.
It's loading. It's 2,600.
Okay, so I was close.
This is a lot more expensive.
Right, but so to enable to stay yourself in lane, you are building Sunfire Cape against an AD because that allows you to help push the lane back because every time you go up, you're doing damage to the minions, as well as you are also benefiting from the armor to stop the damage that is incoming. So. And the fact that it costs 600 gold or no 700 gold less than Titanic Hydra, and there are also spikes, which your time in lane is 1 to 6, 6 to 9 essentially, or 6 to 8. That Tiamat is going to force you to be pushed out of lane rather than forcing them to be pushed out of lane. Like that, it just makes more sense to build defensive on Shen and go with his high base damage through his passive and through the amount of healing that he gets through Key Strike.
What about against AP top laners?
There are 2 times I'll see this on Shen. I'll see if you're against Punch just mentioned against an AP top because you don't really need the armor from Sunfire. Although you might just get like the Giant's Belt and then build something else and then finish this later. You don't necessarily need to rush it. The other time I think you'll see it is it's a strictly like better 1v1 item than Sunfire, especially once you get into the late game and Sunfire is like 20 damage a second, which is nothing. And if you're, I don't know, some matchups you just get destroyed 1v1 on Shen. And you just don't really ever split push, like if Aurelia gets a kill on you or something. But if you're like close and you need something to tip the balance, Sunfire's not that item. This is.
We had a question in chat about Titanic on Rek'Sai instead of Black Cleaver. I'd say
you build both.
Yeah, I'd say both. But you stack Black Cleaver so quickly with her Q and the E that Black Cleaver is like a core item on her. And anybody who does attack damage or, does AD through an item, I guess it's physical damage technically. Anybody who does physical damage through their abilities would build Black Cleaver at some point. Like Garen, he stacks it with every stack of E that is spinning. So you build Black Cleaver at him at some point.
But auto attack resets really strong on Rek'Sai too. And if you're jungling and you build Juggernaut, the Black Cleaver is not really a strong second power spike because the Phage and the Kindle Gem aren't crazy mid game by themselves, and I don't know. It's when you finish it, you don't feel that strong either. Whereas if you get this with Cinderhulk, you can pressure the map so hard, and you just feel stronger. And sometimes it isn't just about building for team fights and isolation and trying to come up with like the best build on paper. It's trying to, I don't know, building what pressures the map the hardest to win the game.
Titanic Hydra on Rek'Sai is her second item on the highest win % core build right now as well.
If I played Rek'Sai jungle, I'd only build Juggernaut Hydra right now.
That's exactly what it is. It's Juggernaut Hydra into tier 2 boots and then straight tanky from there on out.
Mm-hmm. And maybe Black Cleaver like 5th or 6th so damage doesn't fall off.
Right.
And again, just something I just mentioned in chat is that builds are never set in stone.
Right.
Even the items that we talked about previously, they may work for you in one game but never work for you again. So don't discount them completely. But also just let our words resonate in your head of why they might not be as good. You never know. I mean, there could be a game where Sterak's Gage setting to play in Volibear and you're never getting slowed because the players aren't hitting you.
You really want this to work.
I'm just throwing him out there. Just
if you play Volibear top lane, you could dominate with Sterak's Gage.
No, it really has nothing to do with that. He just is like the perfect example because he always runs at you as fast as he can.
I feel like this is Mean Girls, Adam. Sterak's Gage Volibear is not going to be a thing.
I'm making it.
Banshee Veil, Static Shiv, Volibear.
I am making it a thing tonight, you sons of bitches, and I'm going to do it in the top lane.
Just build all the new items on Volibear.
All right, it's done.
They'd be so great.
It's done. All right, well,
Best build ever.
Tonight, you're doing it.
And you are playing Draven tonight. That's it. You're done.
Oh, yeah. Well, with the new ping, I mean, Draven's unstoppable.
I haven't even played in the new ping yet. You know what? Speaking of, we're done with this. Let's talk about new ping. Have we played in the new ping yet? We're all East Coast.
I haven't had a chance to play yet. I did get into a custom game to see what my ping was, and it went from being anywhere between 86 to 130 is where it normally sits, and it spikes randomly up to 200. I have like a solid 40 ping.
I have a solid 20 ping right now.
And then that's due to ISP differences.
Yeah.
So
you have time more to keep 80 to 100.
Yeah, I have TWC.
Yeah, me too. So I got 40 ping.
You ready to switch to WoW so we can get on 20 ping?
Oh, yeah. When I move, I'm totally good.
All right, so those of you who may not be aware, for whatever goddamn reason, the servers, the League of Legends servers are now in Chicago. And, so most of us in Ohio, where, the Trinity Force podcast is pretty much based out of at this point.
I have no idea how that happens.
Central.
Yeah,
location.
We are now the world center for League of Legends because of the
California,
servers right here.
Feel free to move to Ohio. We got space.
Yeah,
and don't worry, we'll be beachfront property as soon as the sea levels rise.
Yeah,
so
right.
Just relax.
Horse, who is all the way out in Maine, you have seen a giant decrease.
Yeah, it went from about 100 to about 53. I have like a couple of things I'll say about the ping. One, anybody who's playing on like 20 to 50 previously, I don't know how you missed CS. Like I really don't. I'm sorry to call you.
CS is so much easier.
It's so easy now. There's some champions I struggled with a little bit before, and it didn't even take an adjustment period. It's just night and day. But maybe it's like playing in a hyperbolic time chamber out here in Maine.
Yeah, that's what I always said. I used to sit at 100 ping, and then I switched. humorous that you guys brought that up between Time Warner Cable and the WoW service, because I used to be on Time Warner Cable and I'd have 110 ping. I switched over to Cincinnati Bell and I have 69. I had 69. Now I have 20.
I'm on TWC and I had 100 before this and 53 now, so maybe TWC is good up here.
Well, I don't have TWC where I'm at. And I work for TWC.
Lucky dog.
Yeah, I know he works for TWC. Doesn't even have it.
I don't even have it.
No, I think it's. I agree with Horst here in the fact that I don't know how people miss CS on 20 to 50 ping or whatever it was, because I've been playing on 60 to 100 ping my entire life, or if not more. And it's been you get used to it. So I'm actually expected to go in tonight and miss CS, having just that extra little bit of time.
The first person I talked to is my buddy's younger brother. Was saying that he got into a game and he was so not used to the difference in ping, he felt like he didn't know how to dodge skill shots anymore.
Yeah, I've heard that too. It'll just take a little bit of time to get used to it.
I didn't feel like it was that. So I went to a customer game with Draven, first of all, just because I felt like I'd be able to tell immediately with Draven, just because, how many times you're fucking clicking with that bastard. I didn't feel like it was that much of a difference that my CS was off and all that crap. I could control my axes easier, so that was nice. And then I actually went to a game with Olaf and played top lane, and just in general, like you would expect, everything just felt more responsive. It wasn't a huge difference. It didn't revolutionize how I played League of Legends, but I felt pretty damn good playing. I'm like, yeah, I can actually dodge shit, and CSing is so goddamn easy now. So it was really nice.
I'm pretty close to somebody who plays almost Draven exclusively. I won't get too much into that, but he was on the same ping as me, and he's on the same ping as me now, so 100 to 50. And the direct quote from our Skype conversation is, "Feels like I'm taking training weights off. I can't believe people are so bad with 50 ping." Expletive.
I don't know how he played with Draven at that ping. I have no idea.
Practice.
Because,
yeah.
when I've got axes flying all over the place. I'm moving forward and axes are flying behind me because I'm not clicking fast enough. I'm like, how do you play this with bad ping?
You know what's hilarious is I got a buddy who lives in Louisiana, and for the longest time he was on DSL, and we were playing like World of Warcraft. I never knew it at the time, but he was probably on 120 to maybe 200 ping. And after we got done playing WoW to that point, we were pushing the Gladiator.
Adam, when we played, I was on DSL as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I know
I'm
that
sure
story.
I had 90 to 120 ping when I was playing, and I did it fine, but I never realized it, right, until I was
It makes a difference.
But the dude, I was always wondering why he was late on hitting shit. When I finally had the conversation with him, I was like, dude, you're on 120 ping. Like, you have a millisecond delay in your, in your actions. Like, of course you're missing shit when that matters. But the whole point was I got into an argument with the guy. He's like, 100 ping doesn't matter between 20. Like, when you were at the top level of the game, when you're in top 10%,
matters.
That's the whole point we've gone back to with Chris Alphener. 1% matters.
It's the difference in, you look at it in professional sports all the time. There is a difference between, all right, look at it this way. In professional sports, the people that make it to professional sports are the 1% of all the people in the world that compete at that sport. Mm-hmm. And the people that are the best in those, that's the 1% of the 1%. So if you look at somebody like Michael Jordan, that guy in his day was better than everybody. Mm-hmm. He's the 1% of the 1%. Uh-huh. It's that same difference. If everybody has the same thing and you have just a slight little advantage, if you can take advantage of that advantage, you're already leaps and bounds ahead.
The one thing I know is, let's say, for those of you who don't know what APM is, it's called actions per minute. It's how many times you click the keyboard or click per minute. Counting keyboard clicks and mouse clicks, for at least myself, it's around 100 when I'm playing League. It was higher when I played StarCraft, but about 100 playing League. So let's say I'm playing a 30-minute game. 30 times 100 is, or 30 per minute is, I don't know, 6,000 per minute. And a 30-minute game, it's 30 times 6,000, so 180,000. 180,000 times 0.1 is like 18,000. It's so much time reduced from my game.
Yeah, 18,000 clicks. Like when you look
at
it
18,000 like effective seconds.
How do you measure that?
There you go.
Do you have a program?
APM. I have something on my keyboard. I don't use it too much because I don't want to be looking at it while I play, but I've used it before.
Well, there's certain software you can download too. Like I know my mouse, the Logitech mouse that I have has software where I can just hit a graph and it shows exactly what I press on the mouse as well as where I click, as well as the amount of actions I take per minute if I wanted to pay attention to any of that stuff. So that sort of thing is available if you want to see it as well.
It's crazy when you really add it up. If you really take every action and you take like 100, and that was saying the math I was doing is 100 to 0, which is unfair. Let's say I did 100 to say 50, it's half of that. But still, like if you add up 100 actions per minute and you add up every minute, and again, I was doing APM, so I was not APS, so that number is way lower.
Yeah, 100 per second.
Discount everything.
Yeah,
discount everything I said on that, but
APM.
The point stands. It's a lot.
It's a lot, right? Yeah, action per minute, not as big in League as it is in StarCraft, though.
Reaction time is bigger in League and StarCraft.
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah, each game has their own piece. I wanted to move this into a final question. This is actually gonna be a short episode, probably, because I don't want to walk right into listener questions, but I did want to end with this one piece because I did get an email about it, and that's we had a question come in weeks and weeks ago that was for the parents, essentially, of League of Legends, and Daze hasn't been on the show in a while, but you know what? I'm just gonna answer it. There was a third question that came in that said made for DeClaude, and he said, I have a son. It's 7 months. He's 7 months old, probably 8 or 9 months by this point because it's been a couple months. And
it might have been his birthday already. We don't know.
Right. And he was wondering, how do you seem to manage your time playing League of Legends and taking care of Syndra? Also related, I assume you can only play 1 game or 2 a day. How do you do ranked with so little prep time? Actually, and humorously, I can answer this question to this point, but I'll let DeClaude take over it.
Yes. Well, thank you for asking. And I would love to say that I'm doing a great job doing it and I'm a step above the rest. And yet, no. I play maybe once or twice a week now, thanks to Syndra. I am decaying and barely playing enough to keep my head above the border. So it is actually taking its toll on priorities, and you know what? I do love spending time with Syndra, so it's not like I notice it, which is part of the reason why I'm playing less. Because if I wanted to play League, hell, I'd play League. Okay. But it's hard. It's very, very hard, and it actually has taken a huge toll on my gaming, big time. So to balance it, I would say what's great is I've been trying to make most of the podcasts I've missed. If you noticed the past few weeks, I've missed a few here and there because of Syndra, but I'm still trying to make these podcasts at least because they're important to me. And on podcast nights, I try to play. So you try to set aside time, speak with your significant other or whoever else helps take care of your son, and arrange the time to watch them. You gotta be ready to move at the drop of a hat. That's why turn-based games, things like that, where you don't have a team relying on you for at least 20 to 30 minutes, to not run away and do something because your baby needs you. Right. Exactly. So that's where it's difficult. And you know what? Congratulations on the child. Keep that as your priority, obviously. And but once she's getting a little older now, believe it or not, she just turned 1 today. Yay. And she's getting a little bit more. She's still not independent. She's only 1, but she's getting there. So she could be so much more, And she is maxing W first, by the way. She's throwing things all over the place. But anyway, I'm going to try to get into playing a little bit more and trying to brush up on my skills. That and the MS and everything kind of just brings things down. It's making it harder for me to play. So I can't really answer the question as far as any magic little trick that you have. You have to prioritize your family, obviously.
Honestly,
but if you have family and friends to help you, that's how you do it.
My girlfriend moved in with me a few months ago, and with her brought an 8 and a 5-year-old, and so I have my own little family going on right now. And
Daddy Pone.
And yes, Daddy Pone. And it it's been a lot of communication. I have not played I've played once in 14 days or twice in 14 days, and I've seen my skills diminish. But like DeClaude said, you have to find something else other than League of Legends, honestly, that makes you if you want to be competitive, you have to find another game like Hearthstone or whatever it may be. You maybe can be competitive in StarCraft arcade. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there that I can think off the top of my head. There's other little games you can play, but if you really want to be competitive, like I need to be competitive. I said I want to hit diamond by the end of the season. I'm still trying really hard to hit that. I've spoken to my significant other. I've told her, listen, this is very important to me. Give me a month of doing it. If I don't hit it in a month, family's still my first priority. But if I don't hit it in a month, then we're just gonna go back to our normal stuff. I'll do the podcast. I'll play when I have time. I'm not gonna spend a Thursday and then a Saturday and Sunday night playing. But you just have to come to a compromise with your family to make sure. And in my opinion, when it comes to relationships, it's a lot about compromise. And a month within the amount of number of years you should be with your significant other isn't that much time to ask for when it comes to trying to reach your goal. Now, if you're abusing that privilege, it might be too much, but you got to sit down and talk to him about it and see what's going on. Dr. Laura podcast right here.
I could revisit for that question the arrangement I had with my wife when I first started courting her, because I let her know right off the bat, because it has been a factor in decimating previous relationships, my computer gaming that I've been doing all my life. I told her, look, this is what I do. This is my hobby. You won't catch me going out to bars, drinking, worry about me cheating, because I'll be sitting here on a freaking game playing. I'm your little nerd, But, however, just to balance it, because I know it can be stressful on a relationship, if you feel that feel neglected, or you just want me to get off the computer, just say, hey, get off the computer. This is serious. And I'll turn it right off. And she's only had to do that 3 times in the 9 years we've been married. So it's great. Every now and then when she does it, it's kind of like a cycle, like, okay, but then you do it and you're like, you know what? It's worth it for 3 years of gaming like I want to, like I've been doing my hobby. And now that Syndra's along here, though, having her name Syndra helps keep me League motivated. So I still love League. I don't want to find another game. I do like this game. I just don't want to make it's very team-oriented game. I don't want to make my other teammates suffer because I have to jump away from the keyboard. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to get banned. I don't want Riot has a great system going on now, detecting leavers and AFKers and stuff like that. So I don't do that in games when I can. I do a lot the time. But I just make sure, communicate with whoever you have with you, your significant other, family member, whatever, who's helping take care, hopefully. And if you don't have anyone helping you take care of that child, then you're shit out of luck. You just got to do what you got to do. Go to customs, normals, whatever it takes.
Do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to set the girlfriend right up over there, and I'm going to teach her how to play League of Legends with me. I'm gonna hit diamond in September, and I'm gonna sit. I'm hitting diamond in September, and then I'm sitting her right over there. Here, I'll even take the camera so you guys can see. Right up over there, she's gonna sit after all that gets cleaned up, and she's gonna learn League of Legends.
She should join the podcast.
I should teach Kayla how to play that way. Mary and her can struggle together and reach out and solo kill.
That would be awesome.
Do it.
Kayla just looks me dead in the eyes and is like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, she plays well.
I should really just bring Kayla on to just shit all over everything that I have ever done in
Episode 300.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what?
The Chira roast.
I understand this podcast was all of 40 minutes long. It was probably our shortest podcast to date, but we're leaving it off of here because we finished out patch 5.6. We answered the last question. We're gonna roll into a Patreon. Will be on Monday. If you are signed up for the Patreon and you want the Champions Select podcast, 2 came out this month. We'll have Ari and Rengar. And then we are stockpiling a few months with the next couple. I know Horse Doctor is going to be on for the Rengar podcast.
Yeah,
nice.
I'm actually doing that after this. Pretty excited for that.
Mm-hmm. Cats and foxes.
I'll say for the previous question, I shouldn't be answering it, but
you have the dog and the girlfriend and everything. I mean,
compared to the people I play against, and actually pretty much most people I know, unless they're new players, I really don't have that many normal games, and I think I've played 600 or 700 ranked games total since I started playing. The 2 biggest things I find success with, if you don't have a lot of time, you need to try hard in every game you're playing, so you get as much from it as you can. I know that's kind of hardcore, and maybe if you have a family, you're playing to de-stress, but if you're playing to de-stress, play to de-stress. If you're playing to win, play to win. So those are 2 different things. The other thing is just setting aside time. Find go to your calendar and find the week or the month where you have the least stuff to do in a year. Maybe practice CS and customs a little bit before that week. kind of lay out your champion pool and make sure you're actually playing those champions and normals and not playing Volibear top or something that's not going to help you in ranked.
That was two middle fingers, though.
That was beautiful.
Just try hard and have a plan, and make that plan around when you have time. So, as a student, it's the summer, stuff like that.
I like that point about practicing customs, because you can stop at a custom and it doesn't matter. You're practicing, you're getting something out of it, and then, okay, I got to go over here because my baby needs me right now, blah, blah. It's just a custom. Who gives a crap? You're against AI.
That's how I feel about Hearthstone
AI might
games.
report you, though, so be careful. It's a new thing, right? It's doing. The AI can report you.
Wait, really? If you AFK, what? I'm like, what? I've never heard that. What? Anyway, all right. I think that's gonna wrap it up. That's 289 of the Trinity Force podcast. I think we're gonna go play a couple games and then move on and bring on the Patreon Monday and talk about Mordekaiser, the cancer of League of Legends.
Mordekaiser,
and other things.
The Chancellor.
He's the Chancellor. All right, guys. This is episode number 200. Guys, peace.
See ya.
See ya. Guys. More.